Where is it? Okay. A Christmas present. Very small, but kind of cute. I'm assuming that you know what Angry Birds is. Doesn't everybody at this point? Um, all right, so one of my last videos for 2011. Today is the 28th of December in 2011. Every year, I think I said last year because I was away in Osaka with my brother when he visited Japan. The Daily Yomiuri, the English language newspaper, does this thing up here, the biggest news of 2011. It's a 2-page spread, and they go down the big news stories for the year, and they split it in half, and it's voted on by a panel of journalists, etc. This year they actually changed the sports one is separate. The top sports stories of the year. They let readers vote, but the news ones are voted on by journalists and staff and newspaper folk, and they split it into domestic, meaning pertaining to Japan, and international, so the rest of the world. So I'll let you place your wagers now. Place your bets. What do you think the top news story of 2011 was? It's not really hard to guess what it's going to be for Japan, but for the rest of the world, what do you think? So I'm going to open this up and just going to go over it here real quick with you. I kind of find these interesting to look back upon and see, so this is the whole thing. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but so they show some pictures and give you a little brief rundown. So I will go over it here briefly with you. Domestic news, obviously the top story is the March 11th tsunami and earthquake. 20,000 people killed. Magnitude 9 Great East Japan earthquake, which is how it's now known. And then, of course, it's the worst natural disaster since World War II. And, 335,000 people are still living as evacuees now 9 months later. And an enormous amount of people are still missing. I don't know if it says that. Oh, I guess that the 20,000 people includes people that are missing. Yes. So the kanji of the year, they in December every year they pick a kanji to symbolize the mood of the country for the preceding year, and the kanji for this year is Kizuna, which if you're a fan of was it Orange Range or Green, one of those J-pop bands did a song called Kizuna, which was very, very popular a few years ago. But anyway, maybe I'll be able to put in the corner up here a picture of the kanji, and you can see what it looks like. It means bond or tie, as in we, became more bonded and tied together as a nation in Japan because of the tsunami and earthquake. The number two, not surprising, I think this will be, of course, the number one sports story, is Nadeshiko Japan, the Women's World Cup soccer team who went to Germany and against all odds won the entire tournament, beating the U.S. in a spectacular final back in middle of July. Fantastic tournament. Followed it here every match, and it was, of course, I root for the U.S. just as like I root for Japan, but in the final match, emotionally you had to want Japan to win, and they did, and it was fantastic. Number three would be the ongoing nuclear crisis. All the people that have been evacuated, more than 100,000 people have been evacuated because of what happened at the Fukushima #1 nuclear plant. And so that's the number three story. The number four story is the scandal that rocked sumo. And this all happened literally just before the tsunami and earthquake happened in March. About 3 weeks before that, sumo finally admitted that Yaocho match rigging takes place. They found hard evidence, they couldn't deny it anymore, on cell phones that were actually confiscated in the betting scandal that happened in 2010. Really changed sumo, hopefully for the better. Noda became prime minister on August 30th. So Yoshihiko Noda, the former finance minister and a member of the Democratic Party of Japan, was sworn in as the nation's 95th prime minister. It's no secret that if you live here, it's such a revolving door. The office of Prime Minister. I came to Japan when Koizumi was Prime Minister. Very charismatic, Clinton-esque kind of guy, and since then we've had like, I swear to God, it feels like we've had 7 or 8 prime ministers in the 6 years I've lived here. Tokyo Sky Tree finally was completed. It's not open to the public yet, but it's now the tallest tower in the world at a height of 634 meters. They interrupted construction after the quake, and it opens next May, and you can go up in it. It's supposed to be just have an amazing view. While I was back in America in September, we had an incredibly terrible typhoon that hit land up here in Mie Prefecture, and typhoon number 12, and that is the number 7 story. It killed 112 people dead or missing, and a lot of damage, mainly in the Tokai region. Number 8 would be a story of really only of interest unless you live in Japan, which is about some double elections that were held in Osaka. These guys, really young guys, which is encouraging. One as the Osaka mayor and the Osaka prefecture governor. And let's see, blah blah blah. They are part of a sort of a new party called Osaka Ishin no Kai, the Osaka Restoration Group, and they've said that they hope to also go into the national political scene. TV goes digital is the number 9 story. You can't have rabbit ears anymore on your television in Japan. You have to have some kind of digital set, and the signal now goes through cable. So a lot of people had to, especially older people, had to go out and buy a new television finally if you've had a TV for, say, more than 5 or 6 years old. So I think they're trying to do that in America too, or they maybe already have. And the last is about people attempting to curb their electricity usage, especially, of course, like in the summer. And the picture here just shows workers, not working overtime, and those that do, using special lamps because all the regular overhead lighting is turned off at a certain hour now. And there's still, of course, going on because we have less electricity at our disposal. Okay, real quick, let's try to get under 10 minutes. The top overseas news. Also disaster is the number 1. The Thailand floods, they say, is the number 1 news story. Number 2, Bin Laden was killed. Number 3, the Arab Spring, what happened in Egypt. Number 4, the massive New Zealand quake that kills 180 people, including 28 Japanese nationals. Number 5, the whole Eurozone debt crisis in Europe. Number 6, the bullet train disaster in China. Number 7, the death of Steve Jobs. Number 8, the fact that we passed 7 billion people on the planet in October. The world population passed 7 billion. Number 9, China surpasses Japan and becomes the world's 2nd largest economy, something Japan had held for 42 years since 1968, but we're now number 3 here in Japan. And number 10, Britain's Prince William marries Kate. The one extra here at the bottom of the page, which was done before they did all this ranking and laid out the page, was the death of Kim Jong-il, the North Korean dictator. They, figure that would have bumped something from one of the spots, probably, I guess, bumped William and Kate off the list. All right, so what was an important news story for you if you're in a country other than Japan? What was big where you were? That wraps up 2011. Let's look forward to 2012. I have one more video coming. Probably post it on December 31st. Peace. Thanks for watching.